Do you think a journalist and a storyteller can work hand in hand? We've all known that the job of a journalist is to write, to prepare, and to broadcast the news through any media platform, while a storyteller's job is to narrate the story in a creative and interesting way to hook the attention of the listeners or readers, even through the form of reading or writing. And yes, a journalist and a storyteller can work hand in hand because in our lesson for today, we'll turn the traditional news into a narrative form of news. As an intelligent and creative FCPCN, we need to express ideas accurately in oral and in written forms, demonstrate confidence in the use of the language to meet everyday's needs, and read independently and get relevant information from various text types, apply your understanding of our heritage to actualize creativity and intelligence through collaboration. And so, at the end of today's lesson, you are expected to explain the different ways of writing literary journalism and how it works, develop literary journalism according to the structure and principles being discussed, and lastly, show intelligence and creativity in writing a literary journalism article. So, you heard it right. Today, we are going to talk about literary journalism or reportage. First, let us define what is literary journalism. So, it is a type of creative nonfiction. It is a form of nonfiction that combines both factual reporting with some of the narrative techniques and stylistic strategies traditionally associated with fiction. And it is also called as literary reportage or narrative journalism. Though we are using um, techniques and elements or stylistic devices of a fiction, still a literary journalism is not a fiction. So, since it is non-fiction, there is always a need for us to be truthful of whichever we are about to share in our literary journalism or our literary reportage. So, as we continue, let us now get familiar with the characteristics of a good literary journalism. So it's all about immersion reporting, complicated structures. Well, basically, it has complicated structure, character development. There is also a need for symbolism, since just like what we mentioned a while back, there is a touch of fiction devices or literary devices. There is a voice, a focus on ordinary people, and accuracy. Literary journalists, so the ones who is writing literary journalism, immerse themselves in subjects' worlds and work out implicit covenants about accuracy and candor. So there is a need for us to be candid or truthful or factual in whichever we are about to share. Yes, we can be creative, but we need to make it sure that the truth or the facts in whichever we are about to share must not be compromised. Write most likely about routine events. Develop meaning by building up the reader's sequential reactions. And have adhered to the rules of accuracy or most so precisely because their work cannot be labeled as journalism. Take note, if details and characters are imaginary or distorted or tailored details or characters. Again, it is a combination of traditional journalism plus the stylistic devices of creative writing or stylistic devices of a fiction. So, what are the things that we need to remember when we are about to write literary journalism? We need to take note the when and where of the story, the setting of the story, the characters or who are the people involved in that story, what happened and why, and the process of resolving, responding, who did what and why, and the resolution. So as you could see, the structure of this type of journalism is almost the same with the structure of a short story or of a fiction. Now it has its when and where, it has its characters, it has its conflicts, no, and it has its resolutions. And of course, there must be denouement or ending of it. There should be a closure. There should be a final scenario. So, how to write a literary journalistic essay? Learn about your subject through personal reportage. Outline your story before writing it. Include a lead and ending. Use your distinctive voice for you to have a unique flavor of your work. Write a true story about a person, place, event, or idea. And of course, write dramatic scenes, action, dialogue, details, and setting. Consider narrowing your topic to a brief period of time. Use literary devices. Tell your story using the third person point of view. Make use of your writing reveals a universal truth or message. Be sure your writing informs and enlightens, since it has, I mean, still it has a touch of the traditional journalism, so there is a need for us to be somehow informative and somehow enlightening. Lastly, conduct extensive research of your topic. So there is really a need for you to be equipped with regards to the topic that you're about to write. So that's it. Thanks so much for listening.